In topic specific vocabulary, we'll talk about crime and the law. So we have various questions. First is match the words and phrases in this box with the correct definition from 1 to 10. So first is the person appointed to make legal decision in code of law. So what are these legal decision? Who makes this legal decision? We call him judge. Second, a group of 12 citizens who are sworn to decide whether someone is guilty or innocent on the basis of evidence given in a court of law. We call them the jury. The jury, 12 people, jury. Then third, a person who sees something happen or is present when something happens. We call him a witness who saw or who sees that thing happening in front of him. So that is witness. Fourth, the person who appears in court of law accused of doing something illegal. We call him as the defendant. The defendant, because he has, he has to defend himself because he has done something and he is charged of doing something, crime or illegal thing. Fifth, a person who is attacked or who is in an accident. We call him the victim. The victim, the person who has suffered, is victim. Sixth, a qualified lawyer who gives advice to members of the public and acts for them in legal matters. What do we call him? We call him as the solicitor. The solicitor. In US, the solicitor is called as attorney general, and in various countries also. Seven, a person who commits an offense against the law. We call him an offender. Then a lawyer who can present a case in court, we call him barrister. Barrister. Barrister and lawyer, they are synonyms, so they are used interchangeably. Ninth, an expression used to describe someone who obeys the law. Who obeys the law, we call that person law-abiding citizen. Then 10th, to do something that is illegal, we call that he's breaking the law, she's breaking the law, or they are breaking the law. Second, now the following groups of sentences, they describe the legal process which follows a crime. However, with the exception of the first sentence, the sentence in each groups are in the wrong order. They are, not arranged properly, but then put them into the correct order using the keywords and phrases in bold to help you. Some of these words appear in the first task also. So the first one is part 1. One night, Jim Smith committed a serious crime. This is sentence 1. Then we'll take, because after one night, after that, morning comes. The next morning, the police arrested him. So this will be first, this will be second. Then we have this third. They took him to the police station, formally charged him with the crime. Then we have the fourth one, this one. Jim asked the officer for a solicitor to help him. Then we come to fifth one, that is our C. This is fifth one. At the same time, the police arranged for a barrister to prosecute him. And then finally E, that is the sixth one. So when the trial began and he appeared in court for the first time, he pleaded his innocence, or he pleaded not guilty. Part 2, I hope you got the idea. Now we'll do the same for this. First is his barrister also has said he was innocent and asked the court to acquit him. Sentence 1. Then we'll use however. There were several witnesses, and the evidence against him was overwhelming, was too much. Uh, then we come to F. Having all the proof they needed, the jury returned a guilty verdict. A guilty verdict. Then C. As a result, the judge sentenced him to 2 years in prison. And then we come to B. While he was in prison, he applied for parole. And then we come to D. He was released after 18 months. Part 3. Unfortunately, prison failed to rehabilitate him, and after his release, he continued with the misdeeds, attacking an old woman in the street. Then we come to D. He was rearrested and returned to court. Then we have F. At the second trial, the judge agreed that prison was not a deterrent for Jim. Then we come to C. With this in mind, instead of passing a custodial sentence, he fined him a lot of money and ordered him to do community service. Then we come to E. His new victim, a pensioner, thought that the judge was being too lenient on Jim and called for the reinstatement of corporal punishment and capital punishment. Then final will be B. Jim promised to reform and the pensioner withdrew a call for more severe retribution. Right? And now we have this extract of a politician's speech, and we need to fill in the gaps or complete the gaps with the words we have seen in task 1 and task 2. One or more answers may be possible, so let us start. Are you worried about crime? I am. We read it every day in the papers. A terrible crime has been committed. Crime is always committed. The police have arrested or charged someone, and he has appeared in front of a jury in a court of law. He has pleaded his innocence but has been found guilty of his crime, and he has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. We are all very relieved that the criminal is being punished for his say misdeeds, and then we can have and law-abiding citizen, or you can also say innocent citizen like you and me can sleep more safely at night. But what happens next? We all hope, don't we, that the pensioner or prisoner, not pensioner but it is actually prisoner, will benefit from society. And ninth one will be retribution from society, retribution, that a spell in prison will rehabilitate him and make him a better person. We all hope that he will reform and become like us. We all hope that when he is eventually in 12th released, he is eventually released and let loose on the streets, he will be a good character. The threat of another spell in jail being a suitable 13th, we will add deterrent, which will stop him from breaking the law again. Oh yes. But let's face it, the reality is usually very different. The prisoner may be released on, say, parole before the end of the sentence, and he will try to re-enter society. But then he often becomes a victim, himself, unable to find work and rejected by the society. It isn't long before he's back in prison again. So what alternatives are there? I here to say what can we do to the 16? We can add offender to make sure he doesn't commit another crime. There are alternatives to prison, of course, such as 17th. We can have community service, in which he will provide a service to those around him, or he can pay a large 18th you can have fine. Alternatively, we could establish a more severe system of punishment, including we can have two of here, including corporal punishment or capital punishment. In either order you can use, but we like to consider ourselves civilized, and the idea of beating or executing someone is repellent to us. Oh yes, the answer, of course, is far simpler. We need to be tough not on the criminal but on the cause of the criminal. We should spend less of the taxpayers' money funding the judges, the barristers, juries, solicitors, any of these four you can add, and all the other people who work for the legal system, and put the money instead into supporting the private areas, which are the breeding grounds of crime. So we in the Conlab party believe that everybody needs a good chance in life, and this is good step forward. Vote for us now. So this was about crime and the law. Hope you have grasped some of them. Thank you so much. Take care.